Hey everyone, welcome to a playoff edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palet, Josh Palet, Mario Herron. The last game just ended as the 49ers advance to get by the Dallas Cowboys. Those matchups are always exciting to see exactly what happens between those two franchises. It always seems to be one of those you always remember. We'll get more into that game in a little bit, but Mario, we should probably start off with the AFC since we kind of had an idea who was going to be in the AFC Championship game first. What did you think about this weekend's games? First impression.
First impression, kind of a letdown, I would say, like all around. The Chiefs game, I guess it got a little interesting when Mahomes went out and had an ankle sprain, and then once again, everyone on Twitter became doctors again. So congratulations on so many people getting the doctorates. Congratulations, guys, for really taking steps forward. Um, and then today, like the Bengals just walked all over the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen doesn't do anything again. People are going to start calling him overrated. McDermott, what's we going to do with that? But all around, crazy weekend. Trevor Lawrence doesn't get it done. My voice hurts from yelling because I was yelling all day yesterday at my TV. I was yelling all day previously. Almost, I thought I was going to throw my phone at my TV if Dak Prescott didn't get over 200 passing yards. But now we sit here, and I think the Chiefs are in massive trouble. Like, I think this is the only time in my life, well, before the start of the season, where I thought the Chiefs, the advantage, the ball's not in their court at all. They have no balls in their court. It's all on the other side. Like, it is not looking good for them. And I didn't think they looked. I don't know. They worried me a little bit over that win against the Jaguars.
Here's the interesting thing for me as far as the Chiefs go, Josh, is that the Chiefs have played so many close games or last possession games, within a possession, I should say, games. And we thought that's why the Chargers would have a good shot. I don't know about you guys, but I was as frustrated as can be, thinking it should have been the Los Angeles Chargers and KC playing that game. It was frustrating. It felt like we were the better team. We have an idea of what they do, especially when Mahomes went down. You're thinking this is exactly what the Chargers would have needed. Not saying he would have got injured against the Chargers, but you start playing the game in your mind, and it's hard to shake what happened a week ago. And overall, I know Josh says this to me all the time off there. He goes, Mahomes is the best player in the NFL, maybe the greatest player of all time. He is absolutely ridiculous. When Chad Henne came in, of course, he played like, you want to back up to play. You didn't lose a lot, 5 of 7. Didn't hurt the team, but was able to sit there and throw a touchdown pass, get a touchdown. And then for Jacksonville, mistakes are made by a team that's not experienced in postseason play, and they kind of fell apart. But I missed the fact the Chargers weren't in it. And one thing I'm going to bring up to you, because someone said it to me, and I was like, man, that is pretty smart. The Kansas City Chiefs guys don't get hurt. Like, why is it that the Chargers have so many guys that get hurt, yet the Chiefs seem like they go through season after season and don't suffer major injuries like the Chargers do?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was listening to a Tennessee Titans podcast where they're talking to Derrick Henry about injuries. And they said, we had so many injuries this year, we have to look in a different direction for our training staff. I was like, whoa, calling out the training staff.
The doctors under the bus.
Threw them under the bus. And I was like, you know what? I never hear that from the Chargers players. I'm not saying you should do that, but as fans, we think the same thing. Why do the Chargers always get hurt, but the Kansas City Chiefs are always healthy? Doesn't make any sense. The Chiefs play in worse weather. They play outdoors. Chargers play in SoFi, but yet we're the ones that are always injured. I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense, because every time there's a cold game, they're like, we're putting the players, it's more likely to get injured. It's more likely, these things happen to them. And it's like, all right, well, thank the Lord we have this revolutionary stadium where it's like you get tackled, I guess you land on pillows or something. But yet our guys are still getting hurt constantly. And it's like, what is going on here? Why isn't our training staff getting our guys back on the field faster? Why isn't our training staff preventing this from happening? Where's our health and strength and conditioning coach that's getting your body armored to take these hits? But yet Kansas City just sits here and they're just consistently fine. Travis Kelce, he's getting up there in age, man. He's getting closer to Dave than me and Josh. Like, he's getting up there in age. And, but he still has 2 touchdowns and he has 14 receptions. And, the second round of the playoffs, like, how is this possible? How do they keep staying healthy? But it's annoying. It's very annoying. It's nagging.
Yeah. So everyone's concerned about Mahomes' injury, and they go, well, at least he has another day or half a day, as he said it, to get ready for the big AFC Championship game. He's going to play. I mean, right? If Mahomes doesn't play, you'd be shocked. He's definitely going to play. And through everything that Chad Henne might be, he's not the MVP of the league. Mahomes is just absolutely ridiculous. Andy Reid is a fantastic coach. Every time you tip your hat to the Chiefs and you just go, man, they just find a way to do it. And that has a lot to do with NFL. For, watching Trevor Lawrence and he says, man, this is the beginning. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of what we're becoming. You kind of believe it. You're thinking Jacksonville will add players during the offseason and they're only going to be better. And they probably will be the favorites going into 2023 as far as to win the AFC South. That Jacksonville is an up-and-coming team. And that would have been a huge upset this weekend if Jacksonville would have gone to KC and won. By getting that playoff win against the Chargers, they surpassed what they dreamed of possibly happening going into the season, especially where you saw where they were in 2021.
With Mahomes' injury, Dave, would you say that the Bengals are the favorites to win the Super Bowl?
Okay, so here's I'll say this, and you guys will agree with me on this. Look, I've done a bunch of shows. All of us have done a bunch of shows. Not before the Bolt City podcast. I've never done a show where everything we said basically came to fruition. Like we've been so damn on the money with stuff this year. And what did we say, guys? We're going to pat us all on the back right now. What did we all say 3 months ago? Who's the best team in the AFC? We all said we were scared of Cincinnati, right? We all picked Cincinnati. That's the team that scared us. As good as KC might be and Buffalo this and Josh Allen, the turnover machine, and the Bills lost exactly the way we thought they'd lose, and we'll talk about that too. We all were afraid of Cincinnati. So, yeah, that game's in KC, and Cincinnati is, undefeated? Joe Burrow's undefeated against Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think Cincinnati is the favorite. So, Mario, you have access to the betting lines before any of us do. Just kind of curious to know what is on there because KC will probably be favored. I'm guessing 3.5. That is, to me, easy money on Cincinnati.
So right now, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, so right now the lines are out. Their spread's not out for Niners, Eagles yet, just over under. It's 45.5. Josh, do you want to take a guess on what you think the line is right now?
For the Chiefs Bengals, I'm gonna go -1 Chiefs.
Wow, good guess. Chiefs -1.5. Over under is 47.5.
Thank you.
Look at that.
So right now they have Mahomes playing. Right now that says Mahomes plays. Yeah.
So this is the way I look at it when you look at the quarterbacks left. History repeats itself, right? You always hear that when you're in school, but it happens the same way for the NFL. We used to see, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like the same thing is happening all over again with these other quarterbacks. You got Joe Burrow, he's a winner, right? He's kind of like Peyton Manning, but he wins a little bit more. You have Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of like Tom Brady. Seems like he just wins everything. And then you have Josh Allen, who really, to me, seems like Aaron Rodgers. Like really amazing player, can do everything, but he can't win the big games. Do you guys kind of see things the same way?
Okay, I look at Josh Allen as a guy that hasn't been put in a position to succeed. And people go, you're crazy. Look, they did a lot to improve their defense. The Bills did. They suffered injuries almost right away at the beginning of the season where guys weren't able to come back. The big one that hurt them was Von Miller. When Von Miller went out, you could kind of say, well, that's probably it for the Bills. But Josh Allen didn't help himself by becoming a turnover machine. But he's a turnover machine because they can't run the ball unless Josh Allen is running the ball. When we talked about the trade deadline, do you remember the name we threw out there? Said, man, if they acquire this guy, that all of a sudden the Bills are by far the favorites to get to the Super Bowl. We said they need a big time back. Alvin Kamara was the guy we were pushing for them to get.
Yes.
And they did it. They took a shortcut. They took a shortcut on a running back. They didn't sit there and dedicate themselves to the running game. And, they were talking about it on, I think it might have been during the Cowboy 49er game about ball control, and saying, this is how things are done. When you get the lead and there's ball control with the running back and you're sitting here burning the clock out, but the Bills continue to fire it, or Josh Allen continues to run. And as big as Josh Allen is, eventually, man, his body's going to start breaking down too. He's not going to be the Tom Brady guy that plays into his 40s because there's no way his body can withstand it. This is not a long-term plan for the Bills and Josh Allen's career to keep doing what they're doing. You really have to go out and get a big-time back as someone that's really a threat to sit there and change things for you. Let's say the Bills added McCaffrey and the Niners didn't. Look what the Bills have to offer. Not only do you have Josh Allen who can run as well, but man, you're giving the ball to somebody else. You're giving someone who can catch the ball out of the backfield better. So many more weapons, so many different chances to hurt you where it's easy to focus on a Josh Allen mistake. This is not going to sustain the Bills to win that Super Bowl they've been looking for.
It feels like
okay, if I'm the Bills, I'm sorry, man. If I'm the Bills, I'm trying to take a running back from a team that's rebuilding like the Colts of the Titans, right? Wouldn't you take Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor if you could? Those teams are terrible. You take the best players off those teams and try to get a running back. Going back to what you just said about Josh Allen with no running game, Aaron Rodgers, what have we heard for the last 5 seasons? When are they going to give him a receiver? When are they going to draft a receiver?
Yep.
It's always the same thing. Early in his career, when are they going to give Aaron Rodgers a good defense? History repeats itself, man. Joe Burrow has the star wide receivers like Peyton Manning had Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. You have Patrick Mahomes with the big-time tight end, Rob Gronkowski, just like Tom Brady. It's the same thing all over again. I'm just calling it out. Nobody talks about this stuff. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback we have ever seen. Tom Brady is the greatest winner we have ever seen. Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers if he won like Tom Brady. We've never seen anything like this. That's why I'm not going to count out the Chiefs next week against the Bengals, because Patrick Mahomes always wins. It's annoying that he's in the Chargers division, but that's what he does. Joe Burrow on the other side, I can't count against him either. If these two teams were the last 2 teams in the Super Bowl, you'd say these are the 2 best teams. 49ers, to me, I don't know if I can trust them with Brock Purdy. I don't know who I can trust in the NFC.
It's very true. I think the Bills are just like on the outside looking in, right? Like they're getting up on the hill, but they haven't gotten over it at all. And as you guys are saying, like all this stuff about the Bills and Josh Allen, I'm trying to find like the whole time. I was like, I'm trying to find an excuse for Josh Allen. Like I'm really trying hard.
Everybody does.
No Von Miller. Yeah. And there's a great tweet that was like, when are we gonna judge the Bills as hard as we judge the Chargers and the Cowboys? Like, when are we going to say, yeah, they're chokers. That's what they are. They're frauds. They get in the playoffs. They can't do anything. This was the most perfect situation for the Bills to win, right? You're at home. It is snowing. Bills Mafia, like, that is the dream for them, is a snow football game. You have injuries to the Bengals offensive line, which you have a strong defensive front. Everything's set up for you, and you go up there and you lay an egg. You piss down your leg like you're a 4-year-old going to first day of preschool. I don't know, like that's what you do. You pissed all over yourself, and you didn't play well. Josh Allen did not play well, but we've seen it all year with his turnovers in the red zone. He was 25 for 42, 265 yards and an interception. Didn't even throw a TD pass. Diggs had 10 targets, only 4 catches. He was taken out of this game. Gabriel Davis, I forgot he freaking existed. So all this happens on the other side of the ball. Yeah, you're on your 4th string safety, I believe, in the 3rd quarter. But Jamar Chase is left wide open in the middle of the field. And then they're talking about how Leslie Frazier is a genius. I'm so sick of that. He's not that much of a football genius, dude. If you're leaving one of the best receivers in the middle of the field wide open, you're not a genius anymore. You're an idiot. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. So they have all this going for them, and they can't get over the hump. And then you got to look at them and go, all right, then you are in this category then of, let's be honest, of the Chargers, of these Cowboys, where you're close up there. You have the talent up there, but you simply don't have it. I don't know if it's the coaching because you're turning over the ball and you're making mistakes. It's hard to say if it's the players because you have a lot of talent. But the clear thing is, at the end of the day, I agree with you, Josh. The 2 best teams in the NFL, the 2 teams that are always going to be, honestly, in the title, it's going to be the Bengals and it's going to be the Chiefs. And that sucks ass. That's just the way it is. And those are the only 2. I agree with you. Those are the 2 teams I trust. I don't really trust the Niners. I do trust the Eagles, but I think the Eagles, I could see him getting a little too excited, counting the cards a little too early. So, but yeah, the Bills, I have a conspiracy theory of what the Bills will do next. I texted you guys, but
let's hear it.
So my conspiracy theory, I texted this to Josh and Dave, and I felt smart for a minute. So my thing is, and I could be an idiot because another team fumbled this up, so there could be changes with them too. But if you're the Buffalo Bills, you have I almost said Sean McDermott, Doug McDermott. Wait, no, it's Sean McDermott. God, Dave,
I'm the one that messed you up. I know.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. You're a Bulls fan. That's why you got that.
Yeah, Coach McDermott. That's just what we're gonna stick with him as.
Coach.
Yeah, he's coach. But so you have him. He's done a good job with the Buffalo Bills. So you can't say he's done a crappy job. The AFC Championship appearance, playoff appearances. But like we said, every other coach is an offensive mind. Like him this weekend, every other coach is an offensive mind. You have a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. You have a top 5 receiving core in the NFL. if you really want to go the next step and you want to win it for Buffalo, why not go all out and say, Doug, thank you for everything. You're a great NFL coach. Sean, Dave, I hate you.
He's going to go, oh, it sucks for Doug. Let's talk about next year. Poor Doug.
So you say, Sean, thank you so much for everything you did for us. You deserve another coach job in the NFL, but we're going to let you go. And then you can go get Sean Payton. Because that's the best offensive mind around right now. And he's the closest sure thing. You only make that move because he's a sure thing. You don't do that for, I'm sorry, but you don't do that for an OC right now that doesn't have head coaching experience. You do that for a Sean Payton type of guy. So I'm speaking out to the universe of, can that happen? Is that smart? Could you see it? Let me know what you guys think. Or am I don't know, Alex Jones right now?
All right, I'll go first. I don't think the Bills do anything. And know why the Bills don't do anything is because their fan base is their fan base. And not taking a shot at the Bills fan base because I think the Bills have a fantastic fan base. Deal is the Bills have never won. The Bills have always been that team that's looking for that trophy. They know what it's like to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row and lose 4 Super Bowls. At the same time, they had a roster in the 90s that was filled with Hall of Famers. It's not a big city. Their fan base doesn't know about what it feels like to win. I honestly believe you have to win one championship to get that feeling of how great it is to crave it again. I mean, you see what the Cowboys do, and we joke around the Cowboys haven't done anything since 95. But at the same time, their fan base understands. We expect more. They expect Jerry Jones to get them more, to get better. The 49ers are in that situation. We expect more. They're on their third quarterback. They're playing with house money right now. Everyone is loaded on that franchise except the quarterback. Nothing against Purdy, but at the same time, he wasn't supposed to be the guy. He just happened to step in as the guy and is doing a fantastic job. Once you have that feeling of tasting a championship and the parade and everything that goes with it, and everyone knows you're the best of the 32 teams, you want it again. The Bills have never felt it. They don't know. Their fan base is going to come back and they're going to be fine, and they're building a brand new stadium. And I think McDermott is one of their guys, and that they are not going to demand the coach's head is gone. They're going to sit there and go, we were banged up. That's not the coach's fault. They aren't going to point the finger at our GM let us down at the trade deadline. They aren't going to point the finger at anybody because they're going to go, our defensive backfield was out of this game. We lost Von Miller. We lost this guy, lost that guy. There was a point, and Josh was traveling during this game, so he didn't catch much of the Bills game. But you and I were watching, Mario, and there was a play in the game where 2 defensive backs knock each other out of the game. Out. All of a sudden, you see the first guy walk to the locker room, second guy walking right behind him to the locker room. You're like, that's done. As soon as Poyer went out, you're like, Bills have no chance. They aren't going to rally back and do this. I think at that point it was 7. They were down by 17. And I think the Bills are happy with their app. My question is with the Bills in their offseason, are the Bills a team that will go and try and fix things through the draft because you're picking at the end? Or do you sit there and say, this is where we try and make trades like Josh said? I mean, I don't know if the Titans honestly would walk in there with the new GM and say, we're going to trade Derrick Henry. But Jonathan Taylor, is he a guy the Colts would say, hey, we will trade Jonathan Taylor? Because you put Jonathan Taylor on the Bills, holy cow, man, they have to be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl next year.
This is why I think the Titans will be willing to trade Derrick Henry. They brought in a new person from the 49ers to be their GM. This is now his rebuild. The Titans are in total rebuild mode. You take away Derrick Henry, Jeffrey Simmons, and Kevin Byard, and that is the worst team by far roster-wise in the NFL. It's awful. So that guy wants to put his foot down and show what he's capable of doing. That's why they brought him in. If you can get draft picks for Derrick Henry, why would you not trade him? What's Derrick Henry running for? They're not running for anything with the Titans. That team sucks. So I would definitely trade Derrick Henry, and the Bills need a running back so bad. I think that's why Sean McDermott keeps his job. They're going to say, look at this roster. What did you want him to do? We have no running backs. Offensive line sucks. Everybody's hurt on defense. They're probably going to give him a break. But if Sean McDermott loses in the next couple of years, I don't know how you don't get rid of him. You still have Josh Allen. Even though he's a turnover machine, you got to win more than what they've shown.
You need to do something to improve your roster because right now you got to know it's not good enough. You're losing the Chiefs. You're losing the Bengals. It's just simply not good enough. The fact that they were ran all over by that Bengals O-line, even their center, like their best O-lineman got hurt. Like they're like, yeah, he can barely move his knee right now. And guess what? They ran it up his butt. Like they just kept going right behind him. You're like, all right, obviously something's working. Bengals had 172 rushing yards on the ground compared to 63 for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that before the game, I would have called you a liar. If you would have given me the odds on that before the game, it would have been like freaking 5-1. Like that, the fact of the matter, that's just insane. If Bills want to get over that step, you gotta hang with the big dogs. And to hang with the big dogs, you gotta make big dog moves. Big dog moves is get a running back. Big dog move is to improve the D line. And big dog move is maybe new training staff. It's something. And keep Diggs happy, because apparently Diggs left the locker room very quickly before the coaches could even hit the tunnels and problems like that. I know that because as soon as that happens, all my Chicago Bears fans and all my friends get a text message going, he's going to Chicago. And it's like, okay, it's piped down. Just because he's angry doesn't mean he wants to go to a city that sucks with receivers.
Do you know what, though? He is that guy that has done that before. Diggs did it with the Vikings. I mean, when he's unhappy, and you got to move him out of there. He's done it before. Here's the deal. Last thing I'll say about Buffalo. Going into next season, that division might just be a one-team division. I mean, the Dolphins don't know if they have a quarterback, because if let's say Tua has to retire, then where are the Dolphins? They don't have a quarterback. The Patriots are so far down right now, they're lost. The Jets, they're a mess, right? So really, it's a one-team division. I mean, the Bills can fall into first place, have probably the easiest road out of anybody in a division, where they'll be right back to where they were when this season ended right now. The best thing about the NFL for us as fans, not for players, is that things turn over quick, whether it's guys whose contracts expire, guys who are cut, guys who are picked up through free agency. Things turn around. That's what makes the NFL better than any of the other sports for fans, because there are 32 teams and every team has an opportunity to turn it around in a 2-year span. You get a good GM and pick the right coach and you have a quarterback, then you could do anything in this league, which is fantastic for fan bases like Jacksonville, who go, man, it's amazing what happened from 2021 to 2022. Got a quarterback who had a coach who believed in him. All of a sudden, here we are playing the Chiefs and a chance to go to the AFC Championship game.
I got a question for Dave, because me and him talk quarterbacks all the time. It's our favorite thing to talk about in the NFL. Bear with me on this question. Do you believe in fate with quarterbacks? Like, guys have like a certain thing with them, like the it factor, if you will, that they're just going to win. For example, Joe Burrow just wins, right? We did it at LSU. He does in the NFL. If Joe Burrow was on the Chargers, do you think the Chargers would be in the AFC Championship game?
100%. Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because Charger fans are going to listen to this and say, Joe, what do you want Justin Herbert to do? What do you want him to do? The defense gave up a touchdown or a field goal on every drive. What do you want him to do?
Okay, I didn't blame Justin Herbert. I didn't blame Justin Herbert for that loss at all. Okay, and I believe Justin Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You guys will disagree with me when I say this right now. If I were to tell you right now, give me a list of all the A-plus quarterbacks out there in the NFL. And most people, when you ask that question, they'll give you a list of 5 to 7 guys. Guys, in my opinion, there are 2. There are 2 A-plus quarterbacks in the league. Do you agree the number's 2? Mario, is that number too low? There's 2. And guess what? They're going to face each other in the AFC Championship game next year. It's going to be next week. It's Burrow against Mahomes. Those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. There's no one that can argue with me on that. And look, I love Justin Herbert. I'm so glad that he's a Charger. Okay. And to defend him, he hasn't had the coaching staff to help him out. He's had the players. He doesn't have the coaching staff to help him out. It all comes down to what's on your resume at the end. And there's nothing on Herbert's resume. Do not tell me how many yards he has thrown for in his career. Those are empty yards. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. It all comes down to rings. It all comes down to playing in big games and what's your record in big games. The fact that he has not won a playoff game is the number one thing that should be on the top of his resume. And so I'm not taking a shot at Herbert, and it's not his fault. It's a team game. I got it. But, man, that resume says you have never won a postseason game. That I hate to say it. That's the truth. That hurts.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think there's 2 A-plus quarterbacks, and there's a handful of A quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, I think, falls into the category of an A quarterback with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. They're A quarterbacks. But there's 2 guys in Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, to me, that just seem different. They're going to find a way to win. You bring up a great point about Justin Herbert. Don't tell me how many yards he's had. Don't tell me that guys were hurt, because it happens. Phillip Rivers, remember Phillip Rivers, he had all the injuries on the O-line. Dude, in 20 years, nobody's going to remember the injuries on the O-line. They're just going to look at his win-loss record, and he didn't do anything. Yep. Phillip Rivers never made it to a Super Bowl. I love Phillip Rivers. He never made it to a Super Bowl. It's the fact of the matter. Joe Burrow finds a way to get it done. Justin Herbert, I've said this before, he doesn't do enough to lose the game, but he's not doing enough to win you these games. And when you watch Joe Burrow play, he does just enough to win every game he plays in. All these big ones, it seems like Joe Burrow's winning. He's undefeated against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the kryptonite of every quarterback, right? Even Tom Brady, like, He doesn't want to face Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes' toughest opponent is always Joe Burrow. With the Cincinnati Bengals, keep in mind, the Cincinnati Bengals, when Joe Burrow was drafted, were the laughingstock of the entire league. That's where they had the first pick. Yet Joe Burrow finds a way to win. I just don't think Justin Herbert has that in him. And it kills me to say that. He didn't have him in it. He wasn't with him at Oregon. He wasn't that quarterback in college. He hasn't proven in the NFL. I think it's almost something you're born with. It's like the it factor. You either have it or you don't.
I 100% agree. It's some about Burrow where I'm comparing it to like the story of Larry Bird in a 3-point contest. I believe it was 1982. I'm gonna guess 82. I think it was 82 when he walks in and is that right? 82?
No, it's closer to the mid 80s, but I know what you're gonna say. This is my favorite line in sports. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he walks in the locker room and goes, "So who's gonna be in second place?"
Yeah,
and that's what Burrow
take
is.
His warm-up jacket. Doesn't even take his warm-up jacket off. He beat all those guys with his warm-up jacket on.
Yeah, and it's just like that's like you have that factor to you where like Burrow's winning the game before he steps on the field. Like he has that factor, and Herbert just doesn't have that. And yeah, if Herbert was on the Chargers, we would see that. You said it there, Josh. Cincinnati, Burrow. Cincinnati was not a like successful, like it wasn't like he was going to the Steelers, right? Where like, oh, there's winning's bred in them. Tomlin's a winner. No, he went to the Bengals, who went from Carson Palmer to Andy Dalton and were purgatory. Martin Lewis, let's stay average. That's what we do. He went into that system, then now they're competing for a Super Bowl. So it's like there's something about him that's special, and there's something about him that one other QB has in the league, and that's Patrick Mahomes. And everyone else, they're trying to figure out to get there, or they're complacent to where they're at. I do believe Herbert's one of those guys, he's trying to get there. He's just doing everything he can. But there's also some guys, I mean, let's be honest, they're probably like, hey, I'm fine. I'm an A quarterback. Yeah. All right, I'll take that. I'll get my shot one year. I'll Dan Marino it. I'll have my shot. But then it's like,
that line's always scary. That's what's always interesting about Dan Marino, where he said, I went to the Super Bowl, got beat by the Niners. I'll be back. Was never back, For Herbert, I honestly believe Josh made a good point about Oregon. Look, if Herbert had experience winning, I think at a high level, like, Oregon or even with the Chargers, I think, boom, it's in him. He's stuck with it. It's in his blood now. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Again, he didn't cost the Chargers. At the same time, he didn't do what you said, Josh. He didn't do enough to put more points on the board. And I'm sure he's one of those guys that takes blame saying, we only got 30. We should have more. You can put that on me if you want to put that on me. We all want to see him do well because we all think he has the ability to do well. I'm kind of curious to know what happens with this new, offensive scheme of how he adapts and what that team looks like next year. There's so many guys we've talked about on this Charger team that might not be back that you wonder, okay, what are his weapons? Does he have a different tight end? Does he not have Keenan Allen? What happens on this Charger team? And do they move the ball vertically down the field, not the way they did last year? But all the individual stats, none of them mean anything. Nobody cares. It's not like the home run record in baseball where you can go up to almost any sports fan and say, what's the number? They'll tell you. Nobody knows the numbers. We're all diehard football fans. I can't tell you what the total number of yards Tom Brady threw for. People just don't care. It doesn't mean anything. It's all about the Lombardi Trophy.
Justin Herbert this year was a little bit shy of 5,000 yards. Throwing for 5,000 yards, I don't care how many games during the season, is remarkable. That's a lot of yards. He also had 25 touchdowns. That's like a guy that has like a great batting average, but hit 15 home runs. You're like, well, you had 15 home runs. You hit 330, but you have 15 home runs. How great are you really doing? Justin Herbert had a ton of games this year where he only threw 1 touchdown or 0 touchdowns. We need more. I'm sorry, dude. Charger fans love Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert. We just need more. We can't just not score in the second half, get 3 points in the second half. That's not happening with Joe Burrow. It's not happening with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe it's unfair to compare him to Joe Burrow. Or maybe it's not because he's drafted right behind Joe Burrow, because that was the comparison coming into the draft was Tua, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. I need more out of Justin Herbert. All Charger fans need more out of Justin Herbert. And you know who also has the it factor, I think? I know we're going to talk about it right now. It's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I went to college with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts cannot throw the ball close to as good as Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, from a tools perspective, is like off the charts. But yet Jalen Hurts wins. He won in college. He wins in the NFL, and he just gets it done. I just see the difference between Justin Herbert and these other guys right now.
He's just a freaking gamer.
You're talking about Jalen, right?
Yeah, Jalen. Like I
Dude,
love him. Like he's a gamer.
Dude, it's addicting watching Jalen play football. I can't
Oh,
stop
yeah.
watching Jalen play football. It's just fun, dude, watching Jalen play football. Like he's like you said, gamer, dude. He's gonna get the win. I don't know. Maybe we're quarterback snobs. I don't know.
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's a position. I mean, you played the position at a high level. You know exactly. Here's the thing for the people who maybe don't know the backstory on this. When Josh was at Alabama, he started at the same time that basically Jalen was there. And Jalen's 17-year-old kid comes in, and everybody in that quarterback room is USA Today Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. Jalen comes in as a 3-star quarterback, and he tells everybody in the room, I'm going to be the starting quarterback this year. And everyone in the room wanted to basically punch him in the face. So you crazy? You don't even have close to the resume all of us had coming out of high school. And then Jalen told Josh, he goes, I'm the guy. I'm telling you, I'm the guy. And everyone's like, Nick Saban's never started a freshman quarterback. Guess what, man? Who's in the national championship game? Who's the starting quarterback? I mean, it took one half of his first game to be named the starting quarterback. And then Jalen just ran with it. And the rest is history. And everybody knows his career. But the thing I always look at as NFL quarterbacks, we've talked about the speed of the game, and we've talked about things, especially in the Hamlin injury. Great quarterbacks, the game's in slow motion, right? The game slows down. That's one thing they were saying about Purdy tonight, that Shanahan said, man, I've been around a lot of rookie quarterbacks. Nobody has adapted the way this kid has, as far as the game just moves slow and he's confident. I'm not saying Purdy's anywhere near the quarterbacks that are remaining in the playoffs right now. My point is, though, nothing's going to rattle Jalen. Nothing's going to rattle Joe Burrow. Nothing's going to rattle Mahomes. And for Jalen, you look at the tools he has. He's not the tallest guy. He's not that 6'5" quarterback. He's not, 250 pounds. He's the guy that, let's be honest, what did he tell you, Josh? He goes, my dream is to win a national championship, to win a Heisman Trophy, and then go coach high school football with my dad. He had no dreams at all or aspirations of being an NFL player because he didn't think he was that guy. Not only is he that guy, if he didn't get hurt, he's probably the MVP of the league this year.
Yeah, he is. And the Jalen story is crazy. He's right. 17 years old, walks in and just tells everybody basically the whole Larry Bird thing. Who's going to be my backup? Like, dude, who is this kid? 17 years old, comes in and takes the job. But that's who Jalen is. I mean, we always talk about Justin Herbert wanting to, speak up and stuff. Jalen is, you see him as quiet on TV. Dude, that guy commands the room when he walks in. 17 years old on the Alabama football team, walked in. You knew he was in there. That's just the difference to me. Jalen with the Eagles, they're the wild card team for me. I don't really know what to get from the Eagles. They just kick the crap out of the Giants. I don't know if they really can compete with the Chiefs and Bengals. Do you see I'll ask you, Mario, do you think the Bengals and Chiefs are head and shoulders above the Eagles, or do you think they're kind of like on even playing ground?
Ooh, so I think the Chiefs Bengals have them by just like a little bit. Like I'd say they have like a little bit of an edge. I will say it's very, very close, and I'd even almost give the Eagles a little bit more right now, more so against the Chiefs just with that ankle sprain, just because I'm like, I don't think Mahomes is going to be nearly as powerful. He's going to play, no doubt. They're going to shoot him up, but he's not going to have no more comfortability, have no more, like, he's not going to be able to throw as hard, like, get off that foot, be mobile. No, it's not going to happen. So I do think he has a little bit of a hedge. I do really, after watching today's game and watching the Niners, I really, really, really do think the Eagles are a step above the Niners. And this is purely coming off recency bias because we've been on together and we're like, yeah, it's Niners and NFC, it's Niners. But after this weekend, just watching the Eagles front just ruin the Giants, which, if we want to pat each other on the back, I said Daniel Jones, he was getting praised a little too much. He sucked. So
yeah, we ranked him last.
Yeah, we all ranked him last. I hate it when we're right, guys. I hate it when we're right. So yeah, like I do put them. I think the Bengals are a hedge in front of them. I think Chiefs fully healthy are a hedge in front of them. But right now, at the moment, I would say Chiefs and Eagles are almost on the even playground. But I think Bengals are the best team available. Not best team. The team I trust the most left in the NFL. What about you, Dave? Make me sound stupid if you
No, I don't disagree with you. The Niners were kind of a little bit disappointing. I mean, I understand a win's a win. The Dallas Cowboys, if you're a Cowboy fan, you're thinking that game was ours. We hurt ourselves. I mean, the Cowboys easily should have walked away with that win. I mean, it was Dak Prescott. Here's a couple things real quick on the quarterback situation. Guys who improvise, like, Mahomes improvises, does crazy things, whether it's throwing left-handed or no-look passes, whatever he does, that's going, man, that's not the way it is drawn up when you're learning to be a quarterback. Burrow is able to improvise. Jalen's able to improvise. Dak Prescott is to the book, man, of what you're supposed to look like when you throw. And that's not a compliment, what I'm saying. When this hits the fan, he's not able to improvise. He is, 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drop, square my shoulders, square my hips, direct right to the guy, and man, it comes back to bite him. I don't want to say he's not athletic, but he doesn't go outside the realm of whatever he's been taught his entire life of playing that position. And look, you can say Tom Brady does the same thing. I got it. But you saw Dak at times today use his legs because the play was to use his legs. There were opportunities for him to do even more, but yet the Cowboys blew it. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. I'll tell you right now, out of 32 teams, they're my least favorite team. But right now, I'll be honest with you guys, if I was placing a bet, whether it's the 49ers against the Bengals or 49ers against the Chiefs or Eagles against the Bengals or Eagles against the Chiefs, I don't know where I would throw my money. I'm not so sure. These matchups of these four teams that are in it are the right four teams. These are the four, to me, best teams on both sides. Yeah. The Eagles are very confusing because without Jalen, I don't know why the defense falls apart when Jalen doesn't play, but the Eagles defense was not good when Jalen didn't play. They looked completely lost. Yet the Eagles against the Giants were so impressive to watch what they're able to do on Saturday. Whereas the Bengals are always dangerous because they know just enough to win. The Chiefs know just enough to win. And the Niners, I think if you're a Niners fan, you're a little bit scared heading into the next two games, if you do have two games. It did not look like Niner football today.
Yeah, so something interesting here is you're talking about defense. We always talk about offense. The four teams remaining are in the top 10 in defense. They're actually four really good defensive teams. We always talk about the quarterbacks on all these teams. Even Brock Purdy gets so much praise. I think the best player on the 49ers team, and I'm talking about including Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, is Fred Warner. I think he's the best defensive player in that whole NFL, actually. So do you think that makes
most underrated player? Most underrated.
Where's he from?
From San Diego.
That's what we do.
People in San Diego don't even know he's from San Diego. That's what's funny.
Now that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he went to BYU. He went under the radar. But I'm going to ask you, Dave, do you think defense is a big factor in this? Because the Eagles and 49ers have pretty good defenses. The Chiefs and Bengals have good defenses too, but you're talking about star-studded defenses. I think I look at the Eagles and 49ers. Is that going to make a big difference, whoever matches up in the Super Bowl? We have these guys on defense like Darius Slay, James Bradbury, whoever you're talking about, or Fred Warner.
I'll be honest with you. I think it comes back down to quarterbacks. I think the average football fan can just say the same thing. It comes back to that quarterback-coach combination that we talk about all the time. The quarterback play, the rules, everything's designed to protect the quarterbacks, for the quarterbacks to have success. I mean, it's such a crazy storyline. I mean, you look at all the potential storylines going into the Super Bowl. Imagine if it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, and it's the Kelsey brothers, and it's Andy Reid going against his old team. I mean, there's storylines in there for 2 weeks, right? Imagine if it's the Bengals and it's Joe Burrow looking to redeem himself for what happened last year against the Rams in the Super Bowl. There were storylines all over. Whether it's Purdy, here's the third-string quarterback taking a team to the Super Bowl. There's so many different things that are exciting. If you're an NFL fan and you're still following the NFL, even though the Chargers are out, you're going, these are the four best teams. These four best teams earned it. I don't think there's anyone going, man, this team doesn't deserve to be there. They're lucky. Like last year, Cincinnati was that team. Like they barely got by the Raiders. They barely got by the Titans. They beat the Chiefs. And you're like, how the hell is how are the Bengals doing this? And is their luck going to run out? There is no luck in this one. These are just four really good teams.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go.
No, I'm going to break your heart.
I'm curious to know.
I'm going to break your guys' heart after this. Go.
Yeah, Mark. Okay. Oh, are you? We'll end the show right now then. Mario, what about defense? What do you think? Defense is that the key?
I think the most important thing for defense is that you can get home with 4, you can get home with 3. Like that's the biggest thing of all time. That's why the Bengals were successful today. I mean, they were getting Josh Allen with sending 3 guys. If you're winning that battle up front, that's a tough day. That's why the Niners have been successful. They have a pretty strong D-line. That's why the Eagles led the league in sacks this year. They got guys that can send 4 and get to the quarterback, and I think that's just as important as having a quarterback that's capable of winning you a Super Bowl. You look at the 07 Giants. Yeah, because that's when they beat the Pats, right?
Yeah.
Season
was 07, Super Bowl's 08. Yeah.
Yeah. So that you look at that team, how did they beat the Pats that year? That D-line was all in Tom Brady's grill. I mean, they were living with Tom Brady back there. So I think that's the most important thing too for a winning team is like, can we just have our D-line go and we can sit back in our coverage and be okay? Can the QB have less than, 3 seconds to throw the football? If so, then we're going to be sitting pretty along with our all-pro QB on the other side throwing touchdowns all day.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Mario. The Eagles have 4 guys with double-digit sacks, something the Chargers obviously weren't even close to this year.
How many do we
Do you guys remember hold on.
Well, Kyler. Drew Chanquel is leading us in sacks.
Oh yeah, ask Dave about that. Okay, I got a name for you guys. It just kills me to say it. Kaiser White. Do you guys remember him?
Yeah.
You guys remember Kaiser White for the Chargers? Pretty good football player, right? He's number 2 on the Eagles in tackles. The Chargers let this guy walk for pennies. The Eagles guaranteed him $3 million. That's all it was. $3 million. And the Chargers said, okay, you can go that way, and didn't retain him. It's those little things that matter. The guy that leads the Eagles in sacks, Hassan Reddick, came from the Cardinals. That's the difference between, and I hate to say it, Tom Telesco and these other GMs too, is they make good picks in the later rounds and they pick up free agents and make trades. When did we do that, man? We took up Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack looked like the best pickup ever for a little bit, but then he fell off. Khalil Mack you didn't know he was on the team in some of these games. I think that's the difference right there. Also, the Chargers and these other teams is they make these great pickups you don't even hear about. Even Kadarius Toney, we were talking about that during the trade deadline. He made some great plays in their game this weekend too. I like for the Chargers to step up and make some free agent splashes and trade splashes, because if you're not going to draft guys in the later rounds that amount to anything, then what are you going to do? Even Kenneth Gainwell, for God's sakes. You see guys, Kenneth Gainwell in the game? Look like a great player. I don't even know who Kenneth Gainwell is going in the game.
So
I'm serious. Josh Kelly can't even get 5 yards a run. I'm serious. This isn't a laughing matter. Josh Kelly can't even get 5 yards in an entire game. Kenneth Gainwell is running all over the freaking Giants. Stop laughing.
Look, okay, so here you go. We all were very upset about Brandon Staley keeping his job. Tom Telesco, should he have been shown the door?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's my question.
Yes.
I mean, he's going to sit there and say, hey, don't forget, I got Keenan Allen in the 3rd round. You know how many teams passed on him? I was able to get Keenan Allen in the 3rd round. Yeah.
You got Herbert.
Yeah. Okay. I got
in the 1st round.
That's how, I mean, GMs can hang your hat. You can hang your hat on that your whole career. What'd you do?
Okay. Well, hold on.
How many? Herbert hasn't even won it.
I would say back to him. I'd say, okay, what were your options? If you weren't going to take Herbert, who were you going to take? Because we didn't have a quarterback at the time. Who were you going to take?
Yeah, that's true.
You had to take Herbert. He was the only one there, right? I mean, anybody would have taken
him
Herbert
and Tua.
at that point.
That was the whole thing. Him and Tua.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I sit there and I look at the situation with Telesco. As a person, I like him, but that doesn't matter. You know, when anyone else says I like the guy as a person, man, I knew Tom when he was first hired, and he was always treated me well, all that stuff. But the old saying, as I said, there are good guys, pumping gas at the Shell station down the street. Doesn't mean I need them playing quarterback for the Chargers. Good guys don't matter. I understand we're trying to win football games. The fan base cares about football games. You aren't going to Tom Telesco's house for dinner. You got to separate all that stuff. It all comes down to, can you do your job? The GM of the Eagles obviously knows how to evaluate players and do his job. So when you're a Charger fan and you're going, what the hell? How do you not have, I'll use the word nerve, to fire Staley? How is it that you have hired all these coaches that aren't qualified? You have 0 Super Bowl coaches that you hire in the past. They've hired 12 coaches, the Spanos family has, and none of those guys have the resume outside of Marty. And let's be honest, Marty is the winningest coach never to win a Super Bowl. Matter of fact, he's never been to a Super Bowl. He's the only coach in NFL history to have over 200 wins and not go to a Super Bowl. but yet he's the best coach that Charger fans will say they had. So spend the money. Go get the right guys. Sean Payton was there. Jim Harbaugh was there. All those guys that are willing to go to the Los Angeles Chargers, you're saying, I'm happy with what I have. You fire all these guys. I don't understand it. It's been over a week now. I'm still, very upset by the team losing to Jacksonville. I don't understand how, look, the offensive guys deserve to go, but the defensive guys giving up 31 points, not stopping one drive, and yet you have defensive guys keeping their job. None of it makes any sense to me. Staley should not keep his job. It's crazy. So you go, okay, how do things get better? If you're Buffalo tonight, you're going, what are we going to do to be better next year? If you're the Chargers, you're going, what are we going to do to be better next year? I mean, man, you have a lot of holes if you're the Chargers compared to the Buffalo Bills. A lot, right? I mean, Khalil Mack, do you expect him back? I mean, Josh, you just said there's a good chance that he's been disappearing. I mean, don't be surprised Khalil Mack ends up retiring with the Raiders. Don't be surprised that Bosa comes back, even though Bosa is the most overpaid, overrated guy in the league. Keenan Allen, don't be surprised if they decide to let him go or trade what they can get for him. But they're going to make some moves. I can't say they're going to replace those guys with better players because they don't.
No, they don't. Yeah. They rarely do that. Yeah, I think it's time to make moves on all ends. Besides quarterback, go ahead. Get rid of everybody. I don't bring in new guys. Who cares? The whole argument on Twitter today between should the Chargers get a big-time tight end or a speedy receiver in the first round? How about we stop the run? Like one time.
Yeah.
Is that a big? Yeah. You guys not watching any of the games? Like, are you guys not watching the same football game that I am? We can't stop a nosebleed, but yeah, let's get a flashy receiver in the first. Who gives a crap?
No, yeah.
Like, am I crazy on that? We're giving up 7 yards to the run.
It's factual. Look at the teams left in the freaking playoffs. What did they all do this past weekend? Right down their throat. Like, let's get some D tackles and fill some freaking gaps a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, let's fill some gaps.
Yeah. Yeah. So I looked up because I was curious. I looked up because I was like, I wonder how many the Chargers have. How many coaches they have in the top 25 worst coaches in NFL history, worst head coaches. And see if you guys can guess how many we have.
Oh my God, dude. How many? Do you want me to name the coaches? We've had a bunch of bad ones.
Wait, see if you can name the guy.
Oh, there's only one?
Dave. There's only one.
It's Mike McCoy. It better not be Staley. It better not be the one we have now. Anthony Lynn was terrible. Staley's terrible. McCoy's terrible. Norv was not a head coach.
This was a long time ago. This was like.
Don't say Mike Riley. Don't say Mike Riley.
No, it's it's the guy they had when they drafted Ryan Leaf, who was the offensive coordinator for the Giants.
No, this is like the 70s.
Oh, 70s.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Harland.
Oh, okay. Harland's bar?
Yeah. I really thought we'd be up higher. Like, I was looking, Josh McDaniels for the Broncos is 14.
To me, all that doesn't even count. Look, I understand if you're a Steelers fan, you go, what do you mean it doesn't count? We won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. Anyone who looks at old highlights of NFL films when you're watching Charger and Steeler highlights, they got Oldsmobiles parked in the end zone. You ever notice all those cars parked in the end zone? What the hell's going on? What kind of league were they running? I mean, it's ridiculous to see a receiver go out for a pass, goes out of the corner of the end zone and crash right into an Oldsmobile. So none of that counts to me. That's insane.
When did they move the field goal post out of the end zone? What year was that? When did they start doing that?
That is hilarious that you say that. 2 things. They moved the field goal post from the front of the goal line. It was right in dead center in the goal line. Okay? Guys are running that thing.
So stupid.
It's like having a big oak tree in the middle of your field. Why? Yeah. And then they just said, "Oh, okay, this isn't safe. No, we're gonna take this goalpost. We're gonna stick it right in the middle of the end zone." I mean, dude, if you go out for a pass, let's say you're a receiver, you go out for a pass. Why don't you just grab the goalpost with your hand and just swing around it like 3 times and decide when you're going to shoot out? You're going to be open. How do you not use it like a pick in basketball? And then finally they moved the goalpost out of bounds. I mean, what a dumb league. What a stupid league, dude.
That's the last time Chicago Bears had a good quarterback.
Yeah.
It is. It's Hall of Famer.
Dude, it's so insane to think how dumb this league was. Can you imagine the rules committee meets? We're going to meet in Chicago. What do you guys think we should do with the goalpost? I don't know. Why don't we take it off the field? You know, that's a good idea. 3 players died. Why don't we take it off the field? That's a good idea. Good God. That's stupid. This dumb league, man. God dang. And the thing is, we're all diehard fans and we can't get enough of it. We fall for it all. I don't know. Let me ask. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, I just looked at another list of like the worst coaches, and that we're in there. We're in there.
Dude, the last 3 head coaches before Brandon Staley were all Fs. North Turner, F.
Yeah.
Anthony Lynn, F. Mike McCoy,
big F.
F minus. Yeah.
Yeah.
All Fs.
Still sucks. Yeah.
All right, here you go. Let me real quick question before we go. All right. If you're the Chargers, would you trade your 2nd round pick, okay, this year? 2nd round pick for either Kyle Pitts, tight end from Atlanta, who they don't know how to use, or would you trade that 2nd round pick for Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans?
Jeffrey Simmons. Most underrated player in the NFL.
But would you trade that pick for either one of those guys? So
I'd trade my left nut and the 2nd round pick.
Dude, see a first pick. I would say see a first for Kyle Pitts. See a for first. Kyle Pitts.
I give up. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. I would call Bengals. Bengals got to pay Boyd, Higgins, Chase, and Burrow. And they're known for being pretty cheap. They have being cheap. Yeah, so newsflash to Cincinnati, one of those guys is not ever going to have Skyline Chili ever again. And it's probably going to be 3 out of 4. So, like, maybe call them. Maybe like, what's Higgins up to? You know?
I want Higgins. That's the one I want.
Higgins is the one they'll say goodbye to. There's no way they get rid of Chase or Burrow. Obviously.
He's arguably top 8. It's like top 8 receiver in the NFL. That dude is ridiculous. He's so good.
By the way, you guys ever had Skyline Chili?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, it's overrated. It's terrible. Have you ever had it?
Yeah.
Have you ever had it?
No, I'm good. I was gonna say it's not bad.
Really? All right. So real quick, let me explain it to Josh. All right. It's I've had it a million times. I hate to say it. It's spaghetti on chili on top. It has like a cinnamon taste to it, right? And then the cheese on top. It's an acquired taste in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You gotta do the dip. Do the dip instead. Don't do the noodles on the bottom because that's disrespectful to our country. But if you do like the dip and you get sour cream in it and mix it, then that's good. That's good stuff.
It's kind of ridiculous, dude.
What's Indianapolis known for? What food are they known for?
Steakhouse, baby. Come on now.
And hospitality.
Oh, yeah, big time. Hey, you walk down the street and ask for a shirt, it's coming off, buddy. You're in a shirt. You're getting a shirt off our back. That's hospitality. And steakhouses. We got really good steakhouses, actually. St. Elmo's is like the most famous.
There you go.
Yeah, trying to think what else we got going on here. Got pretty good Mexican food.
Stop.
Stop.
Just stop there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can't argue that one with us.
I know,
dude,
but like
we're like 7 miles from the border. I mean, you can't argue that with us. You can't tell me in the middle of the country that the Mexican food's great.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like I'm gonna stand my ground a little bit because there's one Mexican place here that like when I walk in, I give everybody a hug, and I'm not exaggerating that. Like I freaking love that place, dude. So I can't.
What's it called?
Yeah, and they listen to our show, so I have to.
Good.
What's it called?
Right.
No shot.
Yeah, give them a plug. What
El Camino.
Yeah, what's it called?
Camino and Somos Familia. El Camino. If you guys are over in Indianapolis, literally go to El Camino.
Get a shirt and get the Mexican food.
It's unbelievable. You're gonna have it, and you're gonna go. I can't believe. I would swear this place is better than anything in San Diego, and you're like, oh my god, like I can't believe it. But I wouldn't say that. Yeah. I wouldn't. I'm telling you, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
What do you order? What do you order? Yeah, I'm gonna get Fernando Ramirez to kick the crap out of you. What do you order?
I probably need it, so that's fine. Chicken fajita nachos or 2 chicken chimichangas a la carte. Or if we're feeling healthy that day, then it's 5 corn steak tacos with a little cilantro on it. And guac. The guacamole there. Dude, stop it, bro.
Stop it.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Dude, there's not one guacamole tree in Indiana. Not one.
What the hell is a guacamole tree? An avocado? What do you mean, dude?
Avocado tree. I'm sorry. But there's nowhere to get fresh guacamole. It's late, dude. What do you want to say?
Yeah.
Doesn't just come out and dip.
Out of my head, it
Oh my
sounded
God.
weird. I was like, how can that sound weird? But yeah, that's true. God dang it.
All right, we can edit
California
that.
gold. That's what we call it. We call it California
Yeah.
gold. Damn it. All right, man. You're making me dizzy here. Here we go. All right. So we're going to be back in a couple days. We're going to break more of these games down. I'm going to get excited about what's going to happen in the NFC AFC Championship game. Right now, in my mind, it's all up in there. Do you have a line on the NFC Championship game, Mario? You gave a line for the AFC Championship game before we get out of here.
Let me, reload. It is -2.5 Philly.
Okay. So you being the
Sounds
gambling
right.
guy you are, what are you doing? Which way are you going on these games?
So Chiefs already went down to -1. I would take the Bengals no matter what. Like I would hammer that now before that's going to change. I think that's going to change as more news comes out during the week. Eagles Niners 2.5. If that goes to 3, I would take Niners. But if it stays at 2.5, I'm going to take Eagles.
All right.
And then
we'll give
over
it-
under is I would just not touch that. I think all unders, by the way, for divisional round. All unders hit.
Look at that. Okay, we'll talk more about these games, of course, in the next show, and at the same time, we'll give our picks as well, of which way things will go. Again, appreciate you guys listening to the show. Again, if you want to sit there and comment, whether it's YouTube or through the podcast notes, go ahead. And at the same time, you can always reach out to us on Twitter. For Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. We'll see you next time on the Bolt City Podcast.